And now we are at
Turn my microphone off.
5 o'clock. So yes, if you have your, I think everyone is muted. Oh, hold on, I gotta shut the door. Thank, or you'll hear my husband's music in the background. All right, now that we're here, I welcome to this July meeting. I am gonna spotlight myself so that everyone can see my smiling face, I hope. Um, and also, I am going to switch over my camera so that you can see my dulcimer for a moment. Because one of the things I like to do is just make sure uh, we're all tuned together. So let's see. All right, here's my dulcimer. Hopefully you can see that, and hopefully you can hear that. Um, If anything is wrong, just unmute and shout it out. I have no qualms. Even if I'm in the middle of playing something, just unmute and shout and let me know something's wrong. Because it's hard for me to see um, raised hands and that kind of stuff. All right, so tuning. I always tune the bass string first, and that's tuned to D3. It's the D below middle C on a piano keyboard. And that's what mine sounds like. Thumbs up if you get there. All right. And then the middle string is tuned to A. Again, the A just below middle C on the piano keyboard. Oh, that needs a little tweak. I see. There we go. Woohoo! All right, are we there? Yep, okay. And the melody string, the string usually closest to you, is the D above middle C, so this is D4. There we go. That's what mine sounds like. So hopefully we're there. Yay! All right. So I am just going to unspotlight myself for a moment. Right, that one. Yay! And then I can see everybody's smiling faces. So we started learning some of these songs last month, and like the first one, Welcome Home, I wasn't intending to teach line by line. It's a pretty easy, I shouldn't say easy, nothing's ever easy, right? But it's a pretty straightforward song. And if I share my screen, you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to put that up there and share my screen. So hopefully now you're seeing the music on your screen.
Welcome here.
Welcome home. Here, yes, welcome here. And that is a shaker traditional song. And this song I learned from Erin May, who gave me permission to share it on. In fact, she's very, very happy that people are learning this song. She learned it from Don Petey. And again, this is one of an example of a song that's just passed down from person to person. And I really like that about our music and the way that works. All right, so there's two sections. There's an A section and a B section, and the A section repeats, the B section repeats. I'm gonna play pretty slowly because this is a slow jam. If anyone has any questions, shout them out now, or I'm gonna get started. Hearing no questions. Okay, I count to 4 because we're in 4/4 timing, and then we come in. So here we go. Let's move that mouse out of the way. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the repeat. B part. B part again. Woo, pretty song. Does anyone have any questions about it? Feeling pretty good about it. Let's pick up the pace a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next song. So again, I count to 4, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. The B part. And a repeat. Yay! All right. So let's move on. That's a really pretty song. I encourage you to play different things with it. So like when on those long holds at the end, you have, these 2-beat holds, you can add little frills here if you want. Make it your own. Okay. The next tune is Goddesses. Once we get past these couple of intro tunes, then we'll go back to looking at the songs line by line. All right. But again, this one's pretty straightforward. This is in the key of E minor. And again, it's in 4/4 timing. Does anyone have any questions about this one before we get started? All right, we're going to get going. I'm going to play it slowly first, and then we'll play it a little bit more, a little quicker after that. And again, this has an A and a B part, and this repeats, this line repeats, and this line repeats. It's just they're smaller. There are fewer measures in these parts. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat. This is the B part. That repeats. right, so one of the things I'm doing on this at the end of the line in both cases is I'm doing these little bounces, right? It just adds a little bit of interest. You don't have to play it like that. You can play it straight, whatever sounds good to you. But I thought it made it kind of sounded more medievally to me. If that's a word, medievally. And this was recorded by John Playford in his Dancing Masters book in 1651. So this is an old song. All right, let's play that through again, a little quicker this time. And I count to 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. The B part. And one more time. There we go. Woohoo. Lost my focus there a little bit towards the end. Does anyone at all have a question about either one of those songs before we move on? No? Okay, cool. And so the next song on my list is Billy Boy. And again, I wasn't not sure I was going to teach this line by line, but I'm open if this is maybe people want me to do this one again line by line. So if you want me to teach Billy Boy line by line tonight, please put your thumb up. Thumbs up if you want line by line on Billy Boy. I'm letting people get it out, look at it. This is a melody version. It's great on a noter. It's the key of G, so we need our capos. All right, I'm not seeing any thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up if you just want to play it straight through a couple of times. All right, we got some thumbs up there. All right, good. I'm glad. That means you guys are practicing. That's wonderful. All right. So yes, capo. Everybody know how to put on a capo, right? This goes on the third, just before the 3rd fret. All right. Now theoretically, after you put a capo on your dulcimer, it's a good idea to retune your dulcimer, because sometimes it changes the tuning, but we're gonna just wing it tonight. So that's what my dulcimer sounds like. It is a very good idea to make sure each individual string is ringing cleanly. All right, good to go. Capo's on. Ready, Freddy? All right, let's get that music on the screen. Share. Can we share a screen? Do we know how to do that? This one. Yes, that's the one. Share it, please. Okay. So now you should have the music on the screen. I just want to point out, in this version, this is the one I came up with, I have a couple of hammer-ons, a slide, and a couple of pull-offs. Okay, these are optional. You never have to do this. And in fact, most of the time, they're for the individual players to determine where to put things. I, put these here in to demonstrate where they might sound nice. But it's entirely up to other people, when you're doing this, what you think sounds nice. So just bear that in mind. Any questions about that? Everybody knows that a hammer-on. So if you look on this, the first measure, which is the pickup measure, there's a hammer-on, a 5 to a 6. Then in the third measure for Billy, I don't hammer on. Okay, that 5 or 6 is different. That's actually played straight. And then at the end of the measure, there's another 5, 6 hammer on. And essentially what's going on there, one of the reasons why I did this is because it just makes those 3, 5, 6 transitions sound slightly different, right? It's the first one. It's the second one. And so that's the third one. So it just gives it a little bit more interest when you're playing it. All right, well, here we go. This is in 2/4 timing. So the quarter note gets 1 beat. There's only 2 beats in each measure. So I'm actually going to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then we come in because this is a pickup measure on the second, starts on the second beat. See if I can get that straight. Woo! Okay, here we go. 1, let's get the mouse out of the way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Rest, rest. Pull off. Woohoo! How is that speed for people? Thumbs up if that was okay, or thumbs up is good for speed. Okay. All right, let's go through it again. And this time what I'd like to do is go back to the beginning. So we're going to play it all through once, and then when we get to the end, we'll go straight back to the beginning. And, in this particular arrangement, there's the first beat is down here with mother, and then this is a pickup note. So we're really going to go straight back to the beginning. It's going to be something like, there's going to be no separation, and it's just the way that this particular tune works out. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then we come in 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Sorry. Rest, rest. Rest. Woohoo! How was that? Did I lose you when we went back around? Any questions about Billy Boy? It's a fun tune, I think. And one of the participants last back in the spring, asked for a tune in 2/4 timing. And it has a little 2/4 timing has a kind of a march sound to it. As you're like emphasizing every other note. So it's very marchy. Okay. I think boom. I think we're going to I want to look at I should have my agenda up, and where is it? Hello, what did I do with you? All right, there, maybe here. Nope. I'm just so organized tonight, I can tell you. All right, there we go. So, Ode to Joy. So we take our capos off. Woohoo! Yay. Now, we did not get a chance to look at this one line by line last week. So we're going to look at this one line by line. Here we go. Let's see if I can set that up. Woohoo! All right. So I need to spotlight me first and foremost. Yay. Okay. I'm really big for everybody now. Am I being silly? Yes. All right. And we want to put the tab and the dulcimer on the screen. So we do that by doing that and doing this and moving this down to there. Okay, move it up a little bit. Make it slightly bigger. And now go back to the zoomy thing and switch my cameras. All right. So hopefully, if I move in the right directions here, you can now see the first line of the music. Ode to Joy by Beethoven. Woohoo! We're getting into the classical stuff. And you can see my dulcimer. Alright, so obviously I have some pretty, there's chords here for all this measure. If you're beginning to play the tune and don't want to deal with the chords, it's perfectly fine to just play the melody notes. Right? Perfectly fine. And in fact, the reality is when I learn a tune, 40 years after learning how to play the mountain dulcimer, I still, if I'm learning a brand new tune, I will play the melody only first until I really get the melody in my head. Okay. If you are okay with some chords, and you're not quite sure if you want to do all three of these notes, you can do 2-finger chords. It sounds quite pretty. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm leaving the bass string to drone, and I'm just playing the frets, the chords that are on the middle string and the melody string. Okay? And, if you're a noter player, have at it. It sounds pretty. Right? It's pretty. Okay. So this is all up to you guys. I'm going to play the full chords so you can see my fingering if that's what you choose to put on the screen, or look at the video later. Here we go. I count. This is in 4/4 timing. Woohoo! I count. There is no pickup measure. So I count to 4 and then we come in. We're just going to play this one line. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all quarter notes so far. Whoop, dotted quarter note. All right, we got that, right? Are we good with that? Yay. I mention it because the next line is almost the same as the first line. You can put two lines, put these two on there at the same time. So you can see we're all the same here until we get to the last measure. And what I want to point out about this song, this is a very good song to demonstrate what it means to be playing in a musical key and feeling that resolution at the end of the song when you get to the last chord, and it is the key chord, right? So we just played this. There's still some tension here. That's a D chord, not a G, right? So there's some tension here. This wants to resolve back to G. The next line, woohoo, we resolve to G. Yay! All right. Let me make this, I think I can make it a little bigger. Yeah. Perfect. Well, not that big. All right, that big. Okay. So here we're gonna do the same stuff we just did. So I'm not gonna, and then, but we resolve to G. We go to D chord first and then resolve to the G. All right, so here we go again. I'm gonna count to 4 and then we come in. Remember, we are, oh, I should point that out. I'm sorry. We're on this 2, 3, 4 chord if you're playing a chord. So that's where you want your fingers to be as I count in for the next line, right? So 2, 3, 4 for our fingers as I count in, and once I count 4, then we're going to come in. You're going to flip to the 3, 3, 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the resolve. Woohoo! Yay! All right. So I want to point out that the last line of this arrangement of this song is identical to the line we just played. So we're going to play that again in just a minute. There is one line in the middle that's a bit different and has different a rhythm to it. All right, so we're on the 0 open on the bass, 1 on the middle, 3 on the melody string from the line above. That's where we're waiting. And I'm going to count in to 4 like I did before, and as soon as we get ready to play, you got to switch up to the 4, 4, 4. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, there we go. So this arguably is one of the is one of the harder lines to do here. I'm putting all my fingers down on the 4, 4, 4, 4. All right, and then I pluck the 4 in the melody, and then I switch to 3, 3, 5, and then I drop my pinky to get that. And then I'm going to just slide all 3 of those fingers up to get the 4, 4, 4. And essentially what I'm doing in this line is sliding back and forth. Anyone want to see that again, or close up on that, or question that? Okay, let me play this line one more time. We'll count to 4. Remember, our fingers from the line above are on that G chord. Open bass, 1 on the middle, 3 on the melody. No matter which way you want to make it with whatever fingers, it's just once I count into 4, you gotta switch up to that 4-4-4, A minor in this case. A 4-4-4 can be either an A major or an A minor chord, because you don't have the third to distinguish whether it's major or minor. But because it's in the key of G, the song's in the key of G, I'm calling it an A minor. All right, here we go. 0, 1, 3 to start with. I count to 4, and then we hit that A minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the last line, like I said before, it's identical to the second line. So here we go. We're on this 2 on the bass, and our other strings are open. In this case, what I like to do is try to get some fingers where I can just drop down on the 3-3-5, okay, from the 2-0-0, okay. I'm going to count to 4, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo, pretty. All right. Now, if you wanted to be fancy and get fancier with this, you can finger pick this. Something like that. It's just however you're feeling the spirit move you. Any questions about Ode to Joy? All right. Does anyone want me to play it straight through all the way once? Let's do that. Let's see if we can do that. Let's do that, and let's change this over to share that and share. And I'm going to do just Mt Dulcimer for that one. All right, so I'm just going to play this straight through twice, because it's a good song to go back to the beginning on. All right, I'm going to count to 4, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so, in a song like this, where you have 4 lines of music and 3 of the lines are almost identical to one another, it gets pretty repetitive sounding when you play it multiple times through. And so that's why you want to learn ways to change up some of this. Like I said, you can do the finger picking, or you can do flat picking even, so, right? For a couple of these lines that are so repetitive, you can change that up. Okay, let's turn that off. Woohoo! And go over here. Any questions about Ode to Joy? It's a great tune, obviously. Okay, are we feeling good about it? I'm going to take the spotlight off of me so I can see any thumbs up. Feeling good about it? Yay! Okay, cool. It's just a really, I would just suggest getting this under your fingers, because if you play this, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that like, I didn't know you could play that on a dulcimer. And it's like, yeah, you can. All right. So the next tune that we're going to look at tonight is a tune called, I'm just going to double check. I'm pretty sure. I remember this now. Yes. Okay. All right. We are going to look at a tune called Ballinderry. And I didn't know this tune, and I'm very grateful for the participant who provided this tune. So I just want to put that out there. This was a request from a participant. Ballinderry, it came to me as a round, right? The music that they shared to me was a round. And Ballinderry actually makes a very pretty round. And I had sent around a recording of it. I don't do a very good job of playing it, recording. So I would love it if anybody else wants to play it. But I wanted to just point out for a second what rounds are. So I am going to share my screen this way. Bloop. Come on, she can do it. I know what I'm doing. Ha! Not. All right. So I am going to look at this version of Ballinderry, and I'm going to make it big. All right. So hopefully you can see the music. This is not the song. This is not the version that we're going to learn in a minute or two. The version we're going to learn in a few minutes is the ballad version. This is a 3-part round version, and there's very subtle differences between the two versions. For one thing, the ballad version has a pickup note at the beginning. And in rounds, it's really hard to deal with pickup notes, and so I just sort of arbitrarily lopped that off, which you can do if you arrange music. So, a round. You can take any music and turn it into a round if it can satisfy 2 requirements. The first requirement is that you can break up the music into different parts, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, whatever, and each one of those parts has the same number of measures in it, right? So each one of these parts has 8 measures in it, right? So that's great. I have actually 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. And each part has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each part of this has 8 measures. All right, so that's the first requirement, that you can break the tune up into parts and each part has the same number of measures. You can fudge that a little bit if you wanted to. You can add a measure by adding a hold, if that's what you want to do to a thing. But each part has to have the same number of measures. And then the second requirement is that each part has to have the same chord progression if you have chords. So this is D for 2 measures, A7 for a measure, D for 3 measures, 1, 2, 3, A7 for a measure, and then resolving to the D and the final measure of each part. Each part is like that. D for 2 measures, A7 for 1, D for 3 measures, A7 for 1, D for the final. So each part has to have the same chords in those measure locations. And again, you can fudge that too. You can put in a different chord if in a section of the music, if that's what it makes to turn it into a round. So the reason why these 2 requirements are there is because when you have a round, usually you'll have 3 or more people playing this. So one person starts off playing at the beginning of the song, right? That's where they start playing. The second person starts playing at the beginning of the song when the first person or group gets to the beginning of the second part, right? And likewise, if you have a 3-part round, you have to have a third group that begins playing the song when the first 2 groups move on, right? So in each place of the song, people are playing different parts of the song, and it sounds really pretty together, but the only way it works and holds together is if you have the same number of measures, and then the chords are the same for each measure, and each part has the same chords at the same measures. Does anyone have any questions about that? That's really fundamentally how rounds work, and they're really pretty when you can play them in person. It doesn't sound great in the Zoom recording because I'm going to be playing and you guys are going to come in at different places, so that doesn't really work well in a Zoom setting. They work great in person. Does anyone have a question about that? And it's a nice way to take a song and give different parts to it and different parts to different players. So it's a really pretty way of doing that. Any questions about that whole concept of rounds? I mean, we all remember them as from childhood, from singing, but in terms of playing them in music, it can get, those are the requirements. All right, so let's learn Ballinderry as a ballad. Woohoo! Yay! Okay. This is gonna be fun. Let's see if I can do that way. Shut that down. Okay, let's turn my video around to that camera. Woohoo! All right, and now I got to get the music on the screen. It's all so complicated, but it's fun too. All right, Dulcimer and tab. Yes, that's what we want to see, and we want to make it a little bigger. Thank you for your help there. Okay. So this is the first line of the ballad version. Notice there is a pickup note here. All right. Let's spotlight that for the recording and for anyone who's looking at that way. All right. Spotlight. Okay. So I really like this tune because it has some really interesting rhythm to it. In a lot of times when you are dealing with folk music, the dotted quarter note is the first note in the measure. In this case, it's not. It's the second note. So that gives you kind of a rhythm. I'm just going to play this line out straight so that you can hear how this rhythm kind of goes. 1, 2, 3. Hear that? Right? So we have this kind of in this second measure, okay? And that's repeated at different places in the music where, you have these eighth notes, okay, and dotted quarter notes. So it's kind of an interesting rhythm, and it really helps you learn. Okay, now if you struggle with this, there's only two ways to learn the rhythm. One is to play and hear and learn it by ear and practice against the recording once that comes out a lot. The other way is to get your handy dandy metronome out. You guys have heard me talk about that before. Woo! And get that going. Okay. There's really only two ways to do that. All right. Okay. This is in 3/4 time, so there are 3 beats in each measure, and the quarter note gets 1 beat, and it is in the key of D. So here we go. I'm going to count very slowly. There is a pickup here, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that's when we come in with this first 2 on the melody string. And again, if this is a brand new tune for you, just focus on playing these melody notes. Don't worry about the chords yet. Okay, that's what pretty much everybody does when they're learning a new melody. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right. I'm going to play that line again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. With our...
Just see you play measure 2.
Sure, yeah.
With the 2s.
Yep, that's the hard one. You hit the nail on the head. All right, so I'm just playing the 2. So I'm not picky at what finger here, right? What I would like to do is make sure that I have a thumb, my fingers here, because I need to hit the 2, 3, 4 chord in the next measure. So I'm not going to use my 2 finger down here, right? I'm going to
Lena?
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt, but your notation down on the fret thing, you've got an eighth rest and an eighth note pickup, but on the top part, you got a quarter.
Oh.
So are you supposed to, is that where it says tis? Is that supposed to be really an eighth note, or is it supposed to be?
That's supposed to be a quarter note. That's a quarter note. Sorry about that.
Because you got a half rest and an eighth rest,
Yeah.
and then.
Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah. Whoa, good eyes.
Just checking. Sorry.
No,
I'm out now.
No. Perfect. Please. Any questions like that, please, and point out all my mistakes. Yes.
Well, I don't mean to do that, but when you're a piano teacher, I'm not a dulcimer player, but I know that.
Yeah, no, perfect. That is wrong. That is, this first initial 2 in the pickup is a full quarter note. And so the other person asked about measure 2 and playing the timing of measure 2. Okay, so this second note of the song is an eighth note. So you got to play that fast and then get to the dotted quarter. So that sounds like I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to just do this one measure, this second measure. Okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right? That's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right? Right? Sorry. That's what that sounds like. You can get a metronome on it. Woohoo! And crank this metronome way down. All right. Crank the sound up. Let's see what we do here. Woohoo! Put it there, and then maybe we can see it. Well, I got to put it there to hear it. 1, 2, 3. Right? Does that make sense? The person who asked about just the second measure. 2, 3. And does that clear up for the person who asked about just the second measure? Oh, stop. Stop.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what's, to me, what is really unique about this song. It's because it has that rhythm throughout it. You know, there are places all over this song where it has that rhythm, and it's just really unique. All right, so let's play this one line again, and then we will move on to the next line. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! All right, moving on to the next line. All right, remember we have this 4 up on the line above. All right, so we don't want to move that. Okay, and here there's no pickup because we're moving on to the next measure. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, and we're going to come in. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I messed that up. Oh, sorry. Sometimes I gotta play it from the beginning just to get it in my head again. Yeah. Oh, I've gone blank. Yeah, that's it. All right. All right, sorry. It's funny what music does to your brain. Okay, so this measure, this second measure of this line is just like the second measure of the first line. However, it's preceded by this other measure, so it gets a little wonky. Again, we're on a 4 from the line above. Let's do this really slowly. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention we're on 4 from the line above. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! All right. So again, I said these rhythms were challenging. But they're really helpful to work out and really begin to start. I mean, if you can play this to a metronome set really low, it's really good. All right, so we're on a 4 from the line above. We're going to move on to this third line. This is the beginning of the second part if you're playing the round. So we're on the 4. I'm going to count to 3 again, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3. Getting a little break. There it is again. All right, that quick. That's that last measure. And this is a slide from 2 to 3. You don't have to slide if you don't want to. And one of the downsides of learning stuff line by line is that you don't get to go on to the next line. right? So there's this sort of semi-artificial break here, which you'll have to fill in when you practice this song. But nevertheless, all right, we're on the 4 from the line above. We're going to count into 3, and then we're going to go again. 1, 2, 3. And then the next line, if she can make it, is in the second page, where again we're starting from 3. We're going to go up to 4. I'm going to count to 3, and then we go move up. 1, 2, 3. There it is again. There it is again. All right. So again, we're at 3 to from the line above, which is the right, and we're gonna count to 3, and then we're gonna come in. Whoops, make this a little viewer. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the next line, we're on the 1. We're gonna go to this D chord. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Right. So that's the transition. All right. So let's do that. We'll do the whole line. 1, 2, 3. One more time. We're on the 1 from the line above. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm playing this measure as a hammer on and pull off. You don't have to do it that way. You can strum it out if that's what you want. If you want to make it really pretty, you can, these are long holds, right? So you can I'm just hitting the individual strings after playing those long hold notes. And interestingly enough, yep, the last line is very much what we were doing before. We're on 2 on the bass string from the line above. And this is just, I'm going to count to 3 and we'll do this line. 1, 2, 3. 3. This kind of repeats the motif from before. Alright, so any
It's on the pull off.
Excuse me?
Like on that line measure 20 you just did.
Yep.
Oh, this is good enough. That 21, whatever it is we hit 101 and then hammer on to 2 for the pull off. Do we pull off the 1 or the 2?
Good question. So you're leaving down the 1 on the bass and 1 on the melody for the whole measure. So when you hammer on the 2, you just pull off your. So I use my middle string on the bass, my middle finger at 1 on the bass, my ring finger at 1 on the melody, and I use my index finger to hammer on the 2, and then I also pull off the 1. but my ring finger is still down on the 1. Does that make sense?
The ring finger is pulling off the 1?
No, my index finger is pulling off the 2 to get the sound of the string
Okay,
at
so
fret 1.
okay, so the pull off is the one before the 2.
Yeah, it's from the 2 to the 1 is the
Okay,
pull
but the
off.
1 stays down.
The 1 on the melody string stays down.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep. So the hammer-on is from the 1 to the 2, and the pull-off is from the 2 to the 1. And a little trick about this is if you practice this, right? You that's in this particular song, but there's a lot of songs that we play on the Mt Dulcimer that have a 101 and then go to an open string. And so this is an embellishment you can end up putting in all of your songs, right? If you wanted to. So that's kind of why it's a hidden thing that I threw in this song that helps you learn where some of, and use it later in a different song where you have a 101 going to open strings. Because in that case, you would actually pull off the 1 off.
Would you want to pull off not with the thumb?
You can do it with the thumb if your thumb is good at it.
Okay, but
as well.
Normally we want maybe index finger.
It doesn't matter as long as
Okay.
whatever sounds best to you and what you are able to do with your hands.
Okay. All right, we'll try it. Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm gonna play this one straight through once, and then we're at just 2 minutes after 6, and we only have a couple more songs to go, so I would love for you guys to hear this thing straight through once. So that means I am going to make that way, and then I'm going to share that screen so you can see it bigger, I hope. All right, if you want to play along with me, please do so. I'm going to play it slowly, but I'm going to play it all the way through, straight from the beginning to the end so that you can hear it, and hopefully I won't mess it up too much. As I say, it has some interesting and intricate timing. Oh, I gotta fix this. I gotta put my dulcimer just in case anyone's looking at my dulcimer. All right, here we go. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we come in for that quarter note pickup note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Who's like me who thinks that's a really pretty song? Put your thumbs up if you think that's a really pretty song and you want to thank the person who sent it to us so that we could learn it. All right. It's, as I say, it's this would not be considered a beginner's tune. If you went to a dulcimer festival, you would never get this in a beginner's class. So just bear that in mind. This is a stretch song. because of that challenging rhythm that you're seeing in these measures. And I encourage you to use a metronome for this, or play along as best as you can to the recording, because that's the only way the rhythm will get stuck in your head. Okay, any questions about that? No, yes, yeah. Okay, cool. So then our next song, I think we did attempt to learn last month. Oh, no, we didn't. Planxty Fanny Power. Okay, yay. Again, this is a tune that was asked for by a different participant. And this is not my arrangement. I want to put that out there. It's a beautiful arrangement that was created by Ron Zuckerman. Anyone knows how I can contact Ron Zuckerman, please let me know. I really want to say thank you, particularly for this song. It's beautiful. It's not a beginner song. And this is the one tune in this collection of tunes that really can't be played with a noter, because a lot of the melody is on the middle string, unfortunately. But it is beautiful. All right, so let's look at this tab with my dulcimer and get myself spotlighted so I become big for everybody. All right, Planxty Fanny Power, arranged by Ron Zuckerman. I heard somebody played this at a wedding once, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I fingerpick this. Typically, if there are a lot of notes up on the melody string on the middle string like this, and a lot of places where you really don't want to sound the melody string, you just want the bass and the middle string to ring, that's when I tend to lean towards finger picking, if that makes sense to people. All right, I want to make sure that you can see my fingers when I'm doing this. So I am going to make this part slightly smaller so that you can see my fingers. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks better. If I scooch up a little bit in my chair, shut that down. Okay. So when I finger pick, I use my index finger on the melody string. I use my middle finger on the middle string and my ring finger on the bass string of my strumming hand. Okay? And just like when you strum, if you strum in the strum hollow, your dulcimer is going to sound one way, but if you strum towards the middle of your fretboard, it's going to sound a different way. That is also true with finger picking. If you finger pick in the strum hollow, it's going to sound one way. If you finger pick up the fretboard around the 9th or 10th fret, it's going to sound a different way. All right. And some songs you're going to want to do one way, and some songs you're going to want to do the other. It's just whatever. Right? So when I finger pick, obviously I'm just going to pick that first melody note, but then I'm just going to pluck across all three strings for this first open, all strings open chord. I just pluck, kind of like I'm playing a harp. All right. Some people will stroke the strings with one of their fingers. Okay, and that's pretty too. It's all what you like to do, and I recommend that you practice all of these ways, because in reality, some songs you're going to want to do one way, and other songs you're going to want to do another. So I tend to pluck, and sometimes I pluck slightly off kilter, so it sounds a little more arpeggiated, and sometimes I just pluck them straight. Okay, so that's the basics of finger picking. This song has two parts. There's an A part There's a B part, and the A part repeats, and the B part repeats. So let's play this from the beginning. This is in 3/4 time, the key of D. There is a pickup note, which is a quarter note. And here we go, really slowly. Again, I count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we come in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's that whole line of music. Now I want to point out that once I put my finger down, my middle finger down here on the bass string for this 1-1-3 chord, this E minor chord, and the third full measure, I'm not lifting lifting otherwise at all my middle finger off of that. It's still down, still down, still down. Right? And why do I keep it down? Because I don't have to move it. It's there for this whole end part, and that makes it so smooth. If I didn't do that, hear those holes? I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but you can hear the choppiness of that as compared to this song is perfect for really practicing smoothing out your playing. And the first rule, the first thing, the first suggestion of smoothing out your playing is once you have a finger on a string, do not move that finger until you absolutely have to move it to make a different chord. All right, so for this whole section here, I don't have to move my middle finger because I've chosen to use that finger, and I can reach all those other notes with my other fingers. And that's why you have to work out the fingering for your own hands on your own dulcimer, but that's where you want to be. All right, so let's try this again. I count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we come in really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, any questions about this line? This is not a beginner song, unfortunately, but it's a good song if you practice it slowly. And when I mean slowly, if you need to practice it even slower than that, as slow as you need to. It's really pretty. Questions about this line? Shall we move on? All right, we're moving on. The next line. Remember, we're 1, 2, 3. We're on the 3rd fret. Okay? So I'm going to count to 3, and then we come in. All right, from the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then we go right back to the beginning because that's a repeat. Woo, she's 2 beats and then go back and pick up this note. All right. Does that make sense to people? Yeah, got a head shake there from Patty. So it's a beautiful arrangement. And if you can get it under your fingers, right, it's good. So we're on 3 from the line above. And we are going to 1, 2, 3. That's a quick move. You just have to be fast about it. Know where you're going. Land there. So yeah, so from the 3-3-5 to the 1-1-0. That's a great transition to really practice because it comes up in so many songs. G to E minor. Oh my gosh. Every song. Okay? So you're at 3-3-5 if you're playing the chords. I reach my pinky, and then as I'm playing my pinky, I'm moving my other fingers into position. Okay? And it's just a fast transition that you have to kind of get around. Questions about this line? Okay, moving on. It's a great song. We are on open. Yay! Gift! Woohoo! At the end of this line. And we're moving on to the B part. And this has a pickup note too. So you're going to hit 2 beats here. And we're going to get this open. So I'm actually going to count. In this case, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Only to give us a few more beats to try and get the timing. All right, so I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is so pretty. And then it repeats. Right? We'll play that a little slower. I think I was a little fast there. All right, so from the line above, we have this open. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that's when we come in, all right? Here we go. But I'll do it slower because I think this is really pretty. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. And let's do the last line. We're at the 3, and this last line just moves up. All this 8, going up. We actually hit an 8 up here. Don't freak out. It's okay. We'll get there. All right, we're on the 3. I'm going to count. All I'm going to count is 1, 2, 3 now because there's no pickup here. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Just moving up the fretboard. Now, I've done that from the beginning, like we just said, like we just did. I want to point out that this is a fabulous tune to practice the principle of practicing a tune from the end and playing each measure from the end and adding in one measure at a time from the end. So what does that mean? So the first thing I'm going to do is do this open. Oh, that was easy. Yay, I got that much. Woohoo! Now I'm going to add in this next to the last measure, measure 31. All right, so the last measure, and now measure 31 is the next to the last. All right, now once I got those two measures under my fingers, I'm gonna back up another measure to measure 30. All right, I'm gonna count us in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's do those three measures again. I'm going to count us into 3 by counting to 3. 1, 2. I'm starting at measure 30 with the A7 chord. 1, 0, 1. 1, 2, 3. All right. Once I've got those 3 measures under my belt, I back up a measure to measure 29. This is the D chord. 0, 0, 2. I'm gonna count in 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. People have the principle of that, of what I'm doing, and why. So why am I doing that? You might want to ask. It's because what you end up doing in some songs is practicing the harder parts more times than the easier parts. Okay, so. Often a song is harder in the B part than it is in the A part. So if you practice this backwards, you end up practicing these measures, which are a little harder, more often than you practice the easier measures that are at the beginning of the song. Does that make sense to people? Are people confused about that at all? I mean, it is not something I do all the time. It's just sometimes it makes sense. I'm going to remove my spotlight so you can see anybody's smiling faces or hands raised or whatever. It just sometimes with some songs, it makes sense to practice the song backwards, one measure at a time, adding in a measure each time. Okay? And also, this is a kind of cool riff to really get to know. Yeah. You can end a lot of songs like that, right? Like I was saying about the other riff in the other song. All right, we are at 6:24. Oh, boys, and I think we have 2 more songs, but I think we all right. So we have Wayfaring Stranger or America. Let me get my camera set up correctly so I can see you guys can see me. I'm gonna say America. Thumbs up if you want to do America. Okay. Wayfaring Stranger. All right, only one for Wayfaring Stranger. All right, so we'll do America. Woohoo! That was easy. Here we go. America. Let's put Planxty back. And let's get this going with that and make this bigger. And this make bigger. All right. All right, and move my video around. Let's spotlight me before I do that because that's important for the recording. And go here and do that. Yay. Okay. It is our 250th anniversary. So everybody knows our birthday of the American. All right. We all went there. There we go. All right. This is in the key of G. This is key of G. It's not the first chord. Remember from last week, it's not the first chord that tells you what key it's in. It's the last chord. Woo! That will tell you what the key is. But also, if you know how to read key signatures, that's what that one sharp there. It's either key or E minor. Excuse me, it's either G or E minor with one sharp. And in this case, it's G. Okay. This is My Country 'Tis of Thee. 3/4 time. I count to 3, and then we will come in. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, there's that line. And notice, folks, here where you have a dotted quarter note to begin the measure, and then an eighth note, and then a quarter note, that's sort of a natural rhythm to us. We play a lot of songs like this, and that's why the rhythm in Ballinderry is so much harder to get, because this is the rhythm we're used to, and this is the rhythm that's in a lot of songs, and Ballinderry has this different rhythm, and that's why it's really nice to play. Gives you something to learn, something to work on. All right, let's play this line one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It also helps if you know the song and can sing it in your head while you're playing. It always helps. All right, we are on the 6 from the line above, and we're going to count to 3, and I'm going to come in again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I did this arrangement, and I created these chords like this because I didn't like just the sound of playing one chord over and over again in this measure. So we have this chord progression. Starts 5, 6, 7. I'm just dropping fingers, if you see what I'm doing. So my thumb is staying very steady on this 7. If you're using another finger on there, that's fine. Just make sure it stays steady. Okay, from the beginning, we are on a 6 from the line above. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We're in this strange contraption of a D7 chord, which is 5 on the bass, 4 on the middle, and 7 on the melody. If you're playing chords, that's what my fingers are doing. And we move on. All right. 1, 2, 3. And again, I have this, otherwise I have this chord progression in this middle measure here. Otherwise, we'd just be playing 6s all the time, which sounds kind of, not interesting. But then again, it could sound fine. If you're playing noter style, it's fine. Whatever you want to do. Anyway, so just bear that in mind. If you're doing this chord progression, you want to keep your 6 very steady, because ideally that's ringing through all of these movements. I don't play it that well yet, but that's the idea. All right, so from the beginning of this measure, we're on this 5, 4, 7 contraption of a D7 chord. We're going to count to 3, and then we come in with this line. 1, 2, 3. Whoops, sorry. That was my fault. 1, 2, 3. And last line. We can do it. We're almost there. We're on this 4-4-4, A minor. And I'm going to count to 3, and then we're going to come in. These got a couple of runs in them, but it's all doable depending on how you've set up your fingers. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. Oh, can she do it? It's from the beginning. We're on the 4-4-4 chord. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she did it. Woohoo! So again, of these runs, it really helps to figure out what your fingering you want to use for that. Questions. We are at 6:30. Woohoo! I ran over tonight. Did somebody have okay. All right. Any questions? Any thoughts? Are we having fun? Oh, Miss Linda? Hold on. Let me you're mute. It says you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Yeah, let me see if I can unmute you. Try again. Let me see if I can hear you. No, I can't hear you. Maybe there's something wrong with your microphone. Down below, can you change your audio for the microphone?
Can you hear me now?
Yay! We can hear you now.
It's not really an important question, but I'd never heard what you had talked about on rounds before.
Oh.
And I was wondering if that's how you can play like Shortening Bread and Gray Cat at the same time. Is it because they have the same number of measures and the same chord progressions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect point.
Thank you.
Perfect point. Yes. If you have two songs that are totally different songs, but they have the same number of measures, and the same chord progressions with the chords in the same chords for the same measures, you can play them together and they sound fantastic together. But yes, that is true. Good. That's a great leap. Great leap. Anything else going on for folks? Yay. Are we happy? We good? Yeah. Michelle's good. Grace is good. Yay. All right. Well, as always, thank you for joining me on this incredibly joyful journey. I don't know about you guys having fun, but I'm having fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lena.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week. See you next month. Woohoo! And if you have any questions or whatever in between, just shoot me an email, and I'll have the recording out hopefully by the end of the week. So keep messing up my weeks and months. Bye.